Welcome back again for another episode of Kanan's Cadence, the show where I talk about my interests, hobbies, and experiences at my own pace with my own rhythm. Hope everyone's been doing well since the last episode, throughout the month of December, just in general. I don't know about you guys, but and you who know me know that I'm just generally a very tired person. I am shot today at the time of this recording. We're 1 week away from Christmas at this point. I don't think that that has to do specifically with why I'm so tired today. It could contribute. I had to earlier this week basically rush and do all my Christmas shopping in just about one shot. Not just for my family, but then also I went and got something, a little something for each of my private students too. And my goodness, that was exhausting just earlier this week. But that was like 3 days ago, is the thing too. I didn't even get to finish my shopping entirely that day. I couldn't find anything for my dad. I wasn't able to come up with an idea of what to get him. I find that it's either him or my mom, or sometimes both, will always consistently be the hardest ones to shop for. So on this past Monday, I was able to do the rest of my family and my students, like I said, and I had to save my dad's shopping for today. I actually just got back a little while ago, finalizing some stuff on that front. And wow, I really just I didn't want to be out earlier. I always make it a point to record these episodes on days that I'm not working. Usually it gives me a bit more of an opportunity to be and feel more rested going into these episodes. I always try to do them on Thursdays, but my goodness, I don't know if it's something in particular for today. I'm just so tired, but I was like, you know what? It's Thursday. I don't feel like, even though I have absolutely no reason to do it this way other than the fact that this is just how I've done it so far. But I want to commit to Thursday. I'm just like, you know what? It's today. This is when I record anyway. Doesn't matter how tired I am. I'm gonna make sure that I still get this out the way and done. So yeah. But that's Christmas stuff aside, because again, I'll save that for a week from today at this point. But one of the other reasons why I think that I might be tired, possibly at the very least. Last night I actually went to, shockingly for the first time, the Jazz Loft over in Stony Brook. As long as it's been open, it opened when I was in high school years back, and somehow last night was the very, very first time that I've ever been there. Um, I was a couple coworkers of mine were like, "Hey, you should go. We're gonna be there. You should bring your sax, jam with us, or jam with whoever is going to be there playing, whatever." And I'm just like, I've gotten that so many times in the past, whether it was friends, coworkers, people that I know, like customers at the store, just people in passing, or anyone who knows that I play sax and I'm a fan of jazz and all that type of stuff. They're just like, "Oh man, like you haven't gone to the Jazz Loft? Why not?" And good God, I have never had a good answer for that. Like genuinely, like there honestly is no excuse for me to have taken this long to go for the very first time in 2025, late 2025 at that too, when it's been around for so long at this point. And it's only like maybe 20 to 25 minutes away from where I live, so it's not a hike either. I just I guess the best explanation was always just I'm lazy. I just didn't feel like doing it. The last few months, I've been more eager and more inclined to get myself over there for other reasons. Again, like just talking to people at work, coworkers and customers alike about the place, and just the fact that I've been kind of longing to, like, at the very least experience like that sort of jazz playing and whatever. Even if I wasn't the one playing it myself, just wanting to go and attend. I've been like longing to do that for quite some time now. But until recently, I was always consistently working the nights of those open jams that they have. I would work all day, like full 10-hour days before those jams would start. I would actually get out of work at the time that the jam was starting, and I was after working for 10 hours straight. On those nights, I never felt energized enough, especially after work, to just pick up and go over there and do more stuff and like be out the house for like more than 12 hours at a time. Sometimes I'd be able to, maybe, but like other nights I just was too busy and wasn't able to. So finally, as of lately, I'm not working that late anymore Wednesday nights. And I was like, okay, well, these jams are happening. The Jazz Loft is closed throughout January, kind of just like post holiday season or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I want to try and get there before Christmas rolls around this year, especially since that's probably going to be realistically, it would have been like my only opportunity before the end of the year to actually get over there. And the longer that I went, the more and more I would just continue to, I don't know, like create excuses to not go. But it was a lot of fun. Like I went there, ran into again a handful of people that I knew, like people from work. Um, Even some of them are like customers that I've known from work. I ran into someone that I knew from when I studied at Crane years ago. He and I didn't really know each other all that well then, but I recognized him, so I went and spoke to him. He was also part of the jam, and that was really really cool. And saw another like person from Crane, someone I guess who was like after my time or something like that. Just all these people that I'm like either familiar with or like have kind of like come across in passing, and then a bunch of people that I wasn't familiar with at all. And it was just overall, it was a really good time. I did bring my tenor sax with me because I was like, you know what, if it's a jam, I may as well, even if I don't intend on playing, it's better to have my instrument with me just in case I would like to play. And I ended up jumping on the first tune that was done for the open jam at that. I ended up improvising more than I anticipated. Like I went in there with the expectation of playing maybe once, if that, because I kind of just wanted to listen and see what the whole thing was about. But then I also kind of was able to convince myself. I'm just like, well, if I'm going to a jam and I have my sax, what's my excuse for not playing it? Is the thing. And I realize like part of it is just because like I am always, I'm always like questioning like how good I am when it comes to improv. Like I've been playing jazz for a long time. I have a good ear for certain things, but I haven't been able to like do it consistently or intensively in several years at this point. Like pre Crane, which that Jesus Christ is over 7 years ago at this point. So it's been a long time. Like I've had the opportunity to like play or like sometimes even like teach beginner jazz stuff here and there scattered, and beyond that, I haven't been able to do any like playing with that style. It's all just like my classical stuff or wind band stuff or just like the private lessons that I do. Sometimes it's not even my saxophone. And yeah, I could technically find my way around playing, like doing improv on like clarinet or flute, but like if it's not going to be nearly as solid as I can kind of stumble into getting it on the saxophone. But yeah, I mean like I where I had a point that I was getting at with this, more or less, is just that it's been a long time since I've been able to do this sort of thing consistently, and I have for a long, long time at this point, and I can't even remember why it came about, but for a long time I've been questioning like, okay, well, how good am I at this stuff? I love listening to it. I love listening to others do it, but I'm just like, well, what is it about me that's like creating like this sort of roadblock where I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how good I am at it. And the easiest answer is just like I'm my own worst critic. Because every time that I get up there and actually start playing, regardless of how good I might think I sound or not, a lot of the time I'm just like, I could have done that better or whatever. I realize that I don't care too much about like my skills at the moment because one way or another I just have fun doing it. I kind of just get in the zone even if it's like just playing like really really basic stuff. Like most of the time like I can't think like that on the fly. It sometimes like I will really have to just be like fully in the zone for myself to like actually end up getting something that I'm just like, wow, I actually really like the way that I'm doing this. And I'm sure that everyone is that way in some way, shape, or form when it comes to like playing or singing, improv, like doing something when it comes to like jazz or even if it's just any other style, just like coming up with these ideas on the fly and like soloing. I struggle with that. I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, it's a lot of fun and I need to do it more. So, and then also just one of the things that's like, I'm not actively seeking it out, but like, it always is like a bit reassuring when I have like all these like phenomenally talented people who are like doing this stuff at the same time that I am, who will, after hearing me play, they'll come to me and just be like, oh my God, like, dude, your sound, like your solo, like that was awesome. Like really, really nice playing and stuff. And meanwhile, like, again, like in the heat of it or like even just after it, I'm usually the one there standing just like, oh man, like I don't know how good that would have sounded. I don't know what anyone listening would have thought of that. But like again, like just even just those little compliments there, I'm just like, okay, well that does make me feel a bit better about the way that I sound when it comes to this sort of stuff. Um, so where am I going with this? More or less, again, like if it's not obvious, I just want to talk about like jazz stuff today. What I've done with it, the jazz loft last night, and just what I would like to do with it and such. So, um, because I've said several times at this point in my episodes that I've been playing saxophone as my primary instrument since I was young, fourth grade, and I started playing jazz initially in the first time that I got to was seventh grade. So 3 years later, I'm not going to try and figure out what year that actually was. That's too much math, and I'm too tired. But played jazz for the first time in seventh grade. Did a written solo for the first time that year. It wasn't improv, but like it was the first time that I got the opportunity to actually um, solo over a jazz tune, and that I remember was like kind of a terrifying thought for me. But after I did it, it was a lot. It felt great. It felt great. I was happy with the way that it had gone. Um, then by high school, I was doing jazz regularly, daily, all throughout high school, all 4 years that I was there, and that was a great time, and like just gave me more and more opportunities to work with a lot of talented musicians, hear what they do, and see what I can do. And if it's not obvious enough, let me say, um, I overthink a lot. So I will always be like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to try to do this, I got to not do this, whatever it is. And in terms of soloing, yes, like it's always going to be the same sort of thing where I think so hard of like, okay, well, there's a rhyme or reason to what I should be doing, but at the same time, I could technically be doing whatever it is that I feel like I want to do. But when I have those two as my options, it's like, okay, well, try to structure it or just do what my brain wants me to do. I usually try to go with whatever has the most structure because I guess I'm afraid of trying to be too creative or something like that, or afraid of just feeling like I don't know what I'm doing or sounding like I don't know what I'm doing is the thing. I rely a lot on my ear. My perfect pitch does come in handy when it comes to playing a lot of music just in general, but it doesn't help me to actually play stuff properly. And I know for certain I can't just go up and like play whatever is a thing. Technically I could, but I want to sound at least like I know what I'm doing. Um, but I don't know. Like it's been a long, long time, and I haven't been consistent with my playing, with my improv at the very least. So that does tend to get in my way. I get in my own way, is what I should say about that. But so a few years ago, actually, to like try and give some sort of cohesion to what I'm talking about. A few years ago, I decided after a long stretch of not really being able to play. This was post Crane, but then also like kind of during the pandemic at the same time. Like kind of like tailing the end of the pandemic, like around there. I decided, you know what? I've been playing long enough. I love jazz, but I don't know how to play it properly, and I've never taken lessons in it. That was the other thing. Never took private instruction at all. And then when I started in college, it was all classical stuff, never any jazz. So I decided that I wanted to start taking jazz lessons, so that I can give myself some sort of like structure, something to work off of when it came to working on this and like hopefully improving my improv is a thing. So I decided to do that. I didn't do them in person. I actually turned to Forbes Music online and sought out a teacher that way. I unfortunately wasn't able to meet with my teacher in person because of just the distance between us. His name was Glenn Mauser. He lived, at the very least at the time, he lived out in, I believe, Manhattan or one of the boroughs in New York City. And we had our lessons weekly, and I was working at the same time and doing a bunch of other things. I didn't have an opportunity, really, to get out there every single week, pay for not just the lesson, which was not cheap, but then also pay for the travel both ways, just based on what I was making at work at the time. Didn't have the chance to do that. But we made it work as best as we could. We just did what everyone was doing at that time using Zoom for online lessons. It was hard because of latency. Like the Wi-Fi where I live has always been spotty at best, um, completely unreliable at worst. So trying to do lessons through Zoom where there was latency, not just with our speech, but then also, especially so, with our playing, it made it really, really difficult to communicate on certain days. Other days, it worked just fine. But trying to actually convey what it was that he needed to convey to me, and then me trying to show what it is that I was working on to him through Zoom. I didn't like that sort of thing. So I feel like that made it harder for me to want to continue doing the lessons at that time, as much as I loved working with the guy. Like, he was a phenomenal player. I was doing tenor sax, he didn't have a tenor available, so he was playing his soprano. Their tunes are the same key, so it was just as well, but different style of improving on a soprano versus a tenor. So we did have to try and make that work in some way or another, and we did. We were able to match to each other, especially since I had little knowledge of what I was doing anyway. It didn't come into play all that much. But yeah, so he was like a phenomenal player. He was just a really, really chill guy in general. I remember my lessons that I had set up through Forbes, they were consistently each week there were 45 minutes we were doing at the time. So that's what I was paying for was the weekly 45-minute lesson. But he was just generous and courteous enough. Even though he didn't need to be, and I told him that he didn't need to do this every single week just because he felt like it. He would just give me an extra 15 minutes so that we would have a full hour to work together. And I was like, Glenn, you don't have to do this, man. Like, I'm only paying for the 45-minute lesson. He's just like, no, no, no. Like, I just want to be able to show you this stuff. I don't need the extra 15 minutes worth of the pay. I just want to be able to show you this because I enjoy showing you this type of stuff. So again, like, that was really, really cool of him. And I got a lot out of those lessons. I unfortunately, again, because of like other stuff with like just doing it over Zoom and like my own financial like position that I was in and like my work schedule at the time too, it just made it really hard to try and keep with that. So I ended up stopping those lessons after maybe 6 months or so. And we're pushing 3 years since I had stopped the lessons too, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I, as I'm thinking about it now, and as I was thinking of it last night when I was at the Jazz Loft, just listening to these people and getting to interact with them and getting to play myself, it made me realize, like, wow, I really want to, like, beyond the need, I want to get back into like this sort of thing, playing more jazz regularly, listening to jazz more regularly, and if I can, like, maybe take some more lessons for myself. Because again, like, I have enough knowledge where I can make my way through a pretty basic like standard, or like if I'm playing in like a big band and like they just need a soloist to like fill like 1632 bars, something like that. I can do that. But there is a lot, and I don't keep this a secret. There's a lot that I just don't really feel comfortable enough doing myself, especially when I play alongside people like I did last night who are like as talented as they are. And again, like, I won't knock myself. Like, I know that I have skill on the sax too, but like, there are people who have just committed more time to it, so are then deserving of like higher marks when it comes to this certain, like, this particular thing than I am. And like, that's not to say that I can't get there. It's just that I haven't put in that time yet. So I need to put in the time. And especially as I've been working for the music store and such, and like been working as a private teacher myself, getting to talk with my students and like their families or their friends and stuff about how it's good for people to have this sort of like structure to give themselves like more reason to discipline themselves. Like, if they're committing to paying for these lessons, then they got to make sure that they're putting in the work to get their money's worth and to improve their skills. Like, that's the whole point of taking the lessons. I want to be able to do that myself, especially since there have only been a handful of times in my life where I've actually taken private lessons, and again, like, they've largely been for classical saxophone. I feel very, very confident in my abilities with classical saxophone at this point, to the point where I feel like any skills that I don't really know, I could probably stumble my way into with just enough dedication and time and all that type of stuff. Like, just all the stuff that I would need to be able to do anyway. I can't exactly say the same thing for jazz saxophone, and that's because I haven't been able to give as much time in that avenue, is the thing. Um, but that's exactly why I want to. Again, like, fully intend on making it more consistent going to the Jazz Loft after this first experience there, because it was a lot of fun. The people there were great, and just really, really inviting and welcoming to everyone who was there just looking to play. Got to talk with a couple of them for some stretches in between some of the songs, and again, like, really, really cool people. I was blown away with how many of them knew each other, but then it also kind of hit me. I'm just like, hey, like everyone's gonna know everyone in some way or another in the music world. But then B, especially if you go to this thing like fairly consistently, maybe not even every week, but like if you're there like once a month or like every other week or something like that, versus me who was there for the very first time, like I can't be that surprised knowing how many of them or seeing how many of them know each other. Even if there were people that like I personally knew for some reason or another, maybe I knew one person from one thing, knew another person from another thing, and then they knew each other because of like their own things and stuff. Like that's just how it works in the music field is the thing. Like it's really cool to see. But I really do want to like try and find my way to like just like further engross myself in that particular community. I've been doing well with that for the last couple of years playing in the community band, the wind ensemble that I've been playing in, or the symphonic band that I've been playing in. I only just recently realized that there is a distinct difference between a wind ensemble and like a symphonic band, and I'm trying to actually commit that to memory. But regardless, the band that I play in, I've been doing that for the last handful of years at this point, about 2.5 to almost 3 years. I think it's been since I started doing that, and that's been a lot of fun. But I'm good with wind bands, is the thing. I've been good with wind bands for my entire life, basically. And for a large portion of my life, I've been good with classical saxophone if it's solo repertoire and stuff. The jazz stuff is what I really want to get back into and like get myself better versed in because I keep forgetting how much fun it is to be able to just go in and let loose on like these types of like just standards or whatever it is that you want to play. And to be able to do that alongside like minded people and like bounce stuff off of each other. Some of the most fun that I've had playing the saxophone was when I was playing alongside like friends or peers or whatever. And like we're just improving and like just going back and forth. And like we're all like in the zone, just in the groove. And being able to like play off of each other so smoothly and seamlessly. Like I can feel that every now and then, but other times I do feel like I let my brain do too much thinking and then I get in my own way in that regard. And I don't want to keep doing that because it detracts from the fun that I can have when I just go and play. And again, like just seeing the happiness on everyone's faces as they're like going and soloing and like they're listening to what the others are doing, like the laughter and the just the cheers and the applause and all that type of stuff that everyone gives to everyone because they're all so blown away with how everyone plays or sings or just is when it comes to doing improv and such. Again, like I have been away from this thing for far longer than I would like to, and I'm really, really glad that I took that opportunity last night when it came up because, again, next week is Christmas Eve, next Wednesday, and I don't think that I'm going to be available that day. I don't even know if they're open that day. And then the following Wednesday would be New Year's Eve. Same sort of thing. Don't know if they're open. Don't know if I'll be available. And then January, they're closed all throughout the month. But I will be back. Once February rolls around, I don't know that I'll be there every single week. I likely won't be able to. But I want to, and I'm going to commit to this, I want to be there at the very least once a month for the foreseeable future once they reopen after the like post holidays, post January. Once they're back in business, I would like to go there at the very least once a month, just to get myself back into it. And in the meantime, while I'm not able to go and like just jam over there at the Jazz Loft, I intend on getting myself back into the habit of just playing more at home and just doing more. I finally my mom had located my B flat real book that I lost years ago after studying away at college. I didn't know where it was for the longest time, and those things aren't cheap. They're only getting more expensive, so I didn't want to purchase another one. I was really disappointed that I would lost it. She found it, and now I have all the reason to just take it and just play around with it again. So that's my intention. I'll probably start with some of the standards that I'm familiar with from like years past, but I've already, as of today, found new fascination in another standard that I haven't heard before. So I'm gonna start playing around with that and trying to like improv on that, and maybe again, maybe by the next time that I go to a jazz loft jam, that'll be the tune that I call and just go and play it, and that'll be a lot of fun. So, really, that's all that I had that I wanted to say for today. I didn't anticipate being able to fill 25 minutes just rambling about this stuff without having to like pause and like really catch my thoughts too much. So kind of pleased with my flow on this one, especially given how tired I am. But being that as it is, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead and just call it here. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. Again, 1 week from today, we got Christmas ahead of us right around the corner. I'm finally done with my shopping, so I can just breathe, relax, and just wait for the holiday to come around and wait for it to go. And we'll pick it up again in a week or so. And not even a week or so, directly in a week. I will be talking Christmas next time anyway, so that's for next time, though. As always, everyone, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to me, especially on a rambly one like this, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.